Hello, I am Rebecca Dwenger, and I have an amazing job of helping educators transform student learning utilizing technology. I am an instructional technology consultant for Hamilton County Educational Service Center in Cincinnati, Ohio. Aside from that, my job has allowed for me to be a passionate pioneer for voice assistants in the classroom. I created the hashtag Alexa for EDU and a website to be a resource for educators. So please follow me on Twitter and check out the website. I have seen the benefits firsthand when students have access to a voice assistant, anywhere from increased engagement during transition times at the preschool level to an increase in communication when used by high school students with autism. Please reach out if you have any interest in my experience that I just mentioned. I was an early adopter of voice assistants, receiving my Echo to Voice within a month of when they were released. It didn't take me long to see the benefits of not just using it in my home, but the way my children used it. And at that time, they were 17, 12, 9, and 7. They started using it for setting reminders and asking tons of questions, spelling words, listening to a story, to check their work, and numerous other tasks. I mention this because I have been a huge advocate for bringing voice assistants into the classroom and would have never guessed I'd be back home where I originally saw the benefits for students, which is learning support at home. Voice assistance for learning support at home is critical during our current times, but everything I'm about to talk about rings true in the classroom as well as at home. Although the Amazon Echo is the voice assistant I refer to most today, other voice assistants can support students learning in the same way. I'm so excited to share my experiences and thoughts with you today. Ultimately, parents the last few months have been managing, organizing, communicating with teachers, tutoring, editing, reviewing students' work, learning themselves, providing social emotional support and breaks, physical activities, and even entertainment. That is, I am sure, just a short list. Let's not forget about teachers and what they've been trying to do. They've been trying to communicate effectively, engage students from afar, providing skill retention activities, planning their old lessons in a new way, trying to assess their students' skills, and worrying about their students' emotional health. I can't cover how smart speakers can help with everything I listed, or we might be here all day. I am going to focus on how voice speakers can help students with their learning at home by helping students independently organize and manage their day for academic support, for social emotional learning, creation, and fun. Lastly, I'll explain how educators can communicate to and engage students at home, continuing to personally connect with them on a daily basis using voice assistants. Just by using some of the Alexa and Google's basic commands, students can become more independent, allowing parents that are remote working to be without as many interruptions. They, the students and parents, can link calendars to their devices, one of my favorite things. We have linked Google Classroom calendars, and then it is also part of our morning routine. So you're able to hear are the things that need to happen today, what assignments are due. It is so easy to add or delete events on the calendar when using a voice assistant. A younger student might just listen to the calendar events that the parent put on, while older students will go ahead and add and organize their own. Another quick and easy way for parents and students to stay organized is by using lists. Whether it is an ongoing list for the week or a daily checklist, students are way more likely to create them using voice. Time management is hard enough for adults. Voice assistance has the answers. I don't know about you, but timers. And timers are one thing I've seen over and over again students use voice assistants for. Students can stay on task by setting their own break times, academic work time, or even for an academic task like practicing how many facts they can do in a minute or how many words they can read per minute. Students can ask their device to remind them without even looking up from their work. Setting up reminders, calendars, lists, and timers, those are a lifesaver for learning support at home. And they definitely help students become more independent. However, using the voice assistants for questions and academic help, now that's a real game changer. One of the best use cases to increase student independence It's for that low-level questioning for information and checking work for immediate feedback. A typical 7 or 8-year-old can ask upwards of more than 500 questions in a day. What I have found is the students that are asking those questions using a voice assistant, they're more likely to ask follow-up questions as well. They also learn how to articulate their speech and rephrase questions naturally without adult prompting. I'm sure you're like, okay, that sounds really awesome, but is that really supporting learning at home? Let me show you an example of how immediate feedback supports learning at home. Here's an example of a student reading a primary source document. Let me kind of interject here that when students read in non-ELA content areas like social studies, science, they will more than likely come across materials that are above their reading level. Many times students will just keep reading and they aren't really able to comprehend what they're reading. They can't pronounce some words. And when they're all said and done, they'll be left with questions about what they really did read about. Voice assistants, like I'm showing you here, when they're used like this, allow the student to get immediate feedback while they're reading, which in turn keeps them focused and successful independently. Aside from this, there are numerous skills or actions available to even deepen their learning of the subject matter. For example, if they became very interested in New Orleans, maybe the student would want to open the National Geographic Geo Quiz and get 6 new questions every day to test their geography knowledge. There's a few other skills like following up on learning root words or even a spelling bee skill to practice their spelling. Speaking of skills, I'd like to talk about what really makes a good skill that students and teachers like. After working with a lot of educators and students, the favorite skills that they use over and over and over again provide a very quick experience. They're either specific to a content or they are a specific skill that can be used for many content areas. And they don't require a lot of instructions. Skills like this one, Akinator, which is one of my favorites, along with some other ones that are just like this, like 20 questions. There's one like animal 20 questions, and many more like that. They support students in their analytical thinking in many content areas, and therefore it is very engaging for students. And they're not even realizing that they are learning when they're utilizing it. So, for instance, some students are researching a scientist, and so they need to learn everything they know about the scientist in order to play Akinator. Because if they don't know everything and they don't do all the research, then they're not going to know how to answer the questions that Akinator asks. So have your students research, and then as a culminating activity, they can use a skill like Akinator or like some of the other ones I mentioned to see if everything they learned actually works. You can do history figures in social studies classes, character analysis from characters in a book, mathematicians, scientists, artists, musicians. There needs to be more skills like this, ones that can go for any grade level, content area, and are simple. The next skill I want to talk about is story dice. Now, I have to kind of pat my own back here. This is a skill I created. It's an example of a skill that students can use to get their writing started or to get help when they have writer's block, which happens a lot with children. This skill is another example of a skill that isn't grade level specific, and students can independently use this to support their writing at home and in the classroom. Let's go ahead and try it out.
Echo. Open Story Dice.
Welcome to Story Dice, where writers come for a random character, place, or item to include in their story. Would you like to roll a character, place, or item die?
Place.
Let it roll. Write a story that takes place at a baseball game. Would you like to roll another die?
Yes.
Which die would you like to roll? Character, place, or item?
Character.
Let it roll. Write a story about a vampire. Going to write a great story. Come back again if you need another character, place, or item to include in your story.
There seems to be an endless amount of voice skills finding their way into student learning. And I just wanted to mention a few more of the student tested, teacher approved school skills. You can find many bamboo skills, each one being specific to a content area. For instance, bamboo books, bamboo music, bamboo math, bamboo luminaries. For at home learning support, I love how parents can even create an account and follow their child's progress. Kids Quiz from Matchbox is just one of their amazing skills. Quiz skills like this are a quick way for students to independently reinforce their learning and discover new knowledge. This is a great skill to add to maybe a morning routine. Many math skills with leveled questions are continuing to pop up in the skills or action store. The favorite student tested, teacher approved ones right now include 123 Math, The Queen's Mathematician, Amazon Math, and like I just mentioned, Bamboo Math. This is a short list, but definitely a good one to look at for what skills students are using and what they like. I would be remiss to not mention the problem of skill discoverability. Teachers, parents, and students, right now they rely on word of mouth or searching in a skills store. There is work to be done to find, rate, and evaluate skills for educational use. One of my favorite ways to learn about skills for children is by watching Echo Dad and his kids on their YouTube channel. If you haven't been able to catch that, please try. They review skills on there. If you are thinking about creating skills for students, what teachers want is a skill that will help with recalling previously taught concepts. That way, students can work on it on a daily basis, and it will help with their mastery of that subject matter. Third-party skills like these are not the only way for students to practice skills. I'm sure you've heard of Amazon Blueprints by now. They are an easy way for teachers to personalize a skill for students to use that is based on their current content. That's why teachers like it so much. Teachers have been making their own skills for practicing content in the classroom. But being able to share the link to their skills or even publishing it to the skills store makes it so it's available to their students that they can use on their devices at home. The main use I have seen so far are making flashcards, social stories, story quizzes, differentiated quizzes, task trackers, and games for review. Using Alexa helps to give students a way to engage in the curriculum off of their screens while at home learning. Not only can teachers make these skills, but during at home learning, what a great opportunity right now for our students to create blueprints and skills for voice. My own son has made flashcards to learn his American history facts, as well as a study game for his social studies chapter test. It took him all of 10 minutes to make a fun quiz to study from. The echo buttons really help make the quiz seem like a game to children. Parents can take their students' work for the week and continue to add to the trivia skill. Study time now turned into fun family experience. I have to take a few minutes to talk about Ask My Kid. I have had a lot of experience with the in-classroom version called Ask My Class. Ask My Class is a teacher platform that houses commands and skills for Alexa in a student-friendly format specific to grade levels and content. I'm not going to talk about that today, but I wanted to mention this platform as it is a great model for what educators like, which is one place for all their needs. So back to the home version called Ask My Kid. Through this time of at-home learning, Ask My Kid has been continuously adding more educator-created activities. Ask My Kid has emotional support activities like asking for a mindfulness activity or asking for a calm down activity. Academic practice like the math snack you see, and daily STEM, music timers, brain breaks, like asking for a dance break or to get moving. For teachers, it is unique in that they can assign many of the daily questions and challenges even through Google Classroom. Ask My Kid provides also some nice materials to help parents and students access all they have to offer. Typically, Ask My Kid and Ask My Class are for younger students. So I'd like to see something that provides some of these types of activities, even for some older students. Social emotional competencies. These have really been shown to prepare young people to succeed in school and in later in life. They're very important. The results from studies of over 270,000 K through 12 students that went through a universal social emotional learning program, the results showed that students had an 11% point gain in achievement. The same students showed significant lower levels of conduct problems and emotional distress compared to the control group. During a time like this, social emotional learning is needed more now than ever. Students should take breaks from their academic learning and can access social emotional learning activities, easily utilizing a voice assistant skill or action. A few that come to mind are, as you can see here, focus game, a gratitude journal where you can keep track of what you're grateful for every day and then play it back. Open random acts of kindness to find what random act of kindness do you want to do today. Ask My Kid, like I mentioned before, has stretch breaks and dance breaks, and even asking for a mindfulness activity. One of the latest EdTech skills finalists and People's Choice winner is a decision-making skill. I really like this skill for social emotional learning at home. So students can learn how to make decisions and they learn about character strengths and virtues. Decision-making isn't an easy thing to teach. But with this skill, students are immersed in a story and it becomes an exploration for them. They can try out different decisions during these quick, engaging stories. Kid Decisions allows kids from kindergarten to fifth grade to explore the different decisions and how they impact the outcome of the story. A dragon named Ember guides the children through the story as they hit on ones kind of related to wisdom, courage, justice, moderation, and a few others. To support students with their learning, there has to be constant communication. Making that communication easily accessible is one of the ways voice assistants can help. For younger students, this can be a way for them to independently access the day's news and ask questions. This communication can help build the teacher-student relationship. One way teachers can communicate with their students is to use Amazon Blueprints, like I mentioned before. The blueprint that I think is easy to make and maintain is a classroom frequently asked questions guide. Think about the questions that kids have over and over and over again. Well, I'm sure teachers are getting those same questions asked to them over and over and over again. I can't log into my Chromebook. I think that's the one I've heard 50 million times over the last 2 months. So a guide could be used for anything and everything where students are going to have questions. Once it is made, just share the link to the parents, and it'll be like having the teacher right there. I feel like this is kind of a drop mic moment. Let's go ahead and listen to an example.
Echo. Open room 200.
Okay, welcome back. What question would you like answered?
Where can I get lunch?
The pickup hours for food are from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Monday through Friday. Just follow the signs once you get to the school.
Another great blueprint would be to make a daily or weekly flash briefing, which would really engage the students easily each day by hearing your voice. And there is an actual flash briefing template for that. Aside from blueprints, an even easier way is to use Ask My Kids class channel. Students are able to hear the teacher's voice and even respond to it. You can even send an individual message. It is not only super easy to create, but it is even easier for students to access the message. Teachers that have used it during this remote learning time have given it rave reviews. So let's go ahead and have a listen to what that looks like.
Echo.
Here to help.
Ask my kid for lime platypus.
Lime platypus, lime platypus. Here's your message. Good morning. I hope you get a chance to go outside today. It's going to be 58 degrees. It is Wednesday. It's so good to see all of your classroom assignments coming in, and I'm enjoying all of your videos on Flipgrid. Today,
I've gone over many ways that voice assistants can support students with learning at home. These supports are not only perfect for the times that we are having right now, but even when things get back to normal, support for students at home is needed, and voice makes it that much more independently accessible. I have to end here with kind of a funny idea for educators to help them with the remote teaching days now and even into the future. Routines are a lifesaver for me. Adding calendar meetings are essential for success at home, as well as learning to take breaks. So again, please follow me on Twitter and check out more uses for Alexa in the classroom on my website. There's a bit.ly link at the bottom, bit.ly, and /Alexa, the number 4 edu, and it is case sensitive. Thank you so much for joining me today.